just to do it as best we can. It's not going to be perfect, guys. It's not going to be probably. Hi, my name is Father Columba and you're watching Little by Little. Saint Joseph, as you may know, is pretty well known for his humility, which is interesting because, as you also may know, we don't actually have any words, any quotations from Saint Joseph. How do we know if he's humble? Because humility, right, is an internal thing. What is humility? What does it look like in his life? What might it look like in your life or my life? I would even like to say, what does humility feel like when you live it? Does it feel all nice, or is it a bit tough sometimes? So there's some parts of St. Joseph's life I think maybe were a little tough. He lived with perfect people. He lived with the incarnate Word and the Immaculate Conception. So if anything went wrong in the house, everybody looked at St. Joseph. When you live with people who are really amazing, your flaws start to appear, don't they? You start to maybe just notice them yourself. I'm sure Jesus and Mary were so humble themselves, they wouldn't have been pointing out or embarrassing him or anything, but he probably was very, very conscious of his own, failures, his lack, his weaknesses. Those things would have come really sharp focus to the surface. And this is something of what humility is. Humility, it means to stand on the ground, to have your feet squarely on the humus, the ground, to accept who you really are, not pretending you're better than you are, nor putting yourself down and thinking you're worse than you are, but to really live in the truth of who you are. There's one particular story that I'd like to look at in the life of St. Joseph, which I think really reveals something of possibly his humility and a way that we could live it. So it's the story of when Jesus was born. And as you probably know how it goes, they were in Nazareth, which is up the north of Israel, and there was a census, so they had to go down south to Bethlehem, which is very near Jerusalem in the south of Israel. It would have taken a good few days to get there, walking, obviously. And they get there, and if I was Joseph, I'm wanting the best. His wife is like seriously pregnant, like 9 months. Any minute now, this baby is coming. So firstly, that's a terrifying thing to have to go into that unsure, not knowing if she'd have the baby on the way. How difficult would that be? But they get down to Bethlehem, and you're wanting to do the best. You're wanting to get the best possible place. This is where your family were from. So you're thinking, oh, don't worry, Mary, I got this. I'm gonna talk to the guys. And he couldn't get anywhere. Absolutely mortifying. Can you imagine him after trying to get a place and then having to go back to Mary and say, there's nowhere. No one will take us in. And then you try again, and he finally gets this shed. I would be totally embarrassed. I would, if ever I felt like my weaknesses were revealed, this is when I most want to shine, and that's exactly what's not happening. But here's the beautiful thing, and here's where humility comes in. To accept, to do your best, even when your best is not great. Even when it's totally not up to your standards, or maybe not up to the world's standards, to offer that with acceptance to God, to offer it with love to God. And here's the amazing thing, he accepted it. God accepted to be born in a stable. In fact, we believe it was his will that he be born in a stable, so that everybody would know that he accepts every heart, no matter how poor, even if your heart is as poor as a stable. And he accepted that day St. Joseph's heart and his lousy best, which was a stable. So for me, that's really what reveals St. Joseph's humility. That's why he's kind of a hero of mine, because he doesn't say anything. He just does his best, and God takes it and blesses it. And we still know about the story. So for you and me, let's do whatever is our today, our jobs that we have to do, or whatever it is, just to do it as best we can. It's not going to be perfect, guys. It's not going to be probably. There's not going to be angels singing and all the rest. Certainly the world isn't going to be rejoicing and singing in our ears when we just do what we can. But give it to God, and he will always accept it. When you give him just the poor best that you have. And that's the place today that Jesus will be born. That's the place where the Word will become incarnate in your life and in my life, if we can humble ourselves and accept to do our lousy best. God bless you.